to be doing an ASMR video of me doing a tier list of Blame My Brother punishment ideas. And we're going to see which ideas for punishments for not uploading a video I think are good. And if you haven't already noticed, this video is going to be an ASMR video, partially because I think it's funny, and partially because Kyra's parents are sleeping in the other room. So I created a list of different punishments for not uploading a video that I thought could be good punishments. Some of them I came up with on my own, and some of them were inspired by common punishments that people give each other that are supposed to be kind of playful, like if you lose in a fantasy football league. I decided to have 4 metrics that I use to rate each punishment. I want punishments to be a little bit cruel. As you can see on the right, I'd want them to be the right amount of cruel so they can lose points for being too cruel or for being not cruel enough. I want punishments to be unusual, partially because I think that makes them more fun, and partially because I think that that makes them a better story. Third, I want them to make good content. Obviously, if we're going to be making videos about the punishments, just having a punishment that isn't interesting, like giving each other money, doesn't make a very good video. The last one, and this is obviously selfish, is I care about the benefit to the other brothers. If we're going to be giving each other punishments, they might as well benefit us, you know? What's the point of having us do something needlessly cruel if it isn't also helping me? Okay, starting at the top. This is the first idea that I had. Busk until you get $20 and give $10 to each other brother. I think that this idea is really funny because it's kind of difficult and embarrassing, and I think it's the perfect amount of cruel. It's a little unusual. It's very good content, and we both get $10, which, sounds good to me. So I'm gonna say that this is an easy S tier. Actually, I don't like S tier very much. I'm gonna give it an A tier and rework all of these correspondingly. I think that system inflation is not necessary for the purpose of this tier list. Next, walk 30,000 steps in one day, which is about 14 miles. This one is an idea that I had pretty early as well as a punishment. I think that it's a little bit too cruel. Potentially, we could overexert ourselves in walking 30,000 steps. It's more steps than I think I've probably walked in a day, but I wouldn't be surprised if I have ever done it. It's, I think, very doable. This one's a little bit less unusual than busking, and a little bit worse content, and it has very little benefit to the other brothers. Some of these I gave a 0 because I think they're completely uninteresting, but a lot of them I gave them 1s because it's kind of fun to see your brother do something very uncomfortable. That gave this one a total score of a 12, which I think is a C tier. Next, eat 10 6-inch pancakes in one day, equaling about 1,750 calories. This one's also a little too cruel and unusual, but not too unusual. It's almost exactly the same as walking, except in eating form. It's inspired. Kyra's laughing at me right now. It's inspired by an episode of a show that would review everything, where a guy was asked to review eating 12 pancakes in one sitting, and he gave it a half of a star. That's the same rating that he gave racism. So I'm going to give this one a C tier, because I think eating the pancakes over the course of a day is not as bad as eating them in one sitting, and it's less than the number of recommended daily calories, which also makes me think it's rather doable. Fourth is baking cookies to give to the other brothers. This one is a little bit too uncruel. It's something that you would just normally do for fun, which I think is not very interesting. It's also not very unusual, and it doesn't make particularly interesting content. I mean, baking content is fun, but as a punishment, it's not very interesting. This one does still have a moderate benefit, which makes it about a C tier in my opinion as well. A lot of C tiers to start off. Next is one that Ethan was mentioning a lot. Do Ethan's taxes. I don't know how it's possible, but theoretically, we could assign this one to Ethan, and then he'd have to do his own taxes, which is funny to me. This one I think is just the right amount of cruel and unusual. It's not very good content because taxes are rather boring, but maybe I could be convinced that it could be a good video. This one has particular benefit to one brother, so I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's a B tier punishment. Next, count to 5,000. This one I also think is about the right amount of cruel and an interesting amount of unusual, which can create content. It's just like an early Mr. Beast video. He was talking in an interview about how he had no money and he was so desperate to go viral so that he could have some money. And so he was just trying whatever he could do. And one of his early video ideas was to count to a very high number. I think it was much more than 5,000. This one I am going to give a 0. It's almost completely uninteresting to me, which gives it a 13. I'm going to say a 13 is a high C tier, but I could be convinced that it's low B tier. Next, do 100 push-ups. This one's also a little too cruel in my opinion, and it's completely not unusual. Like, it's very normal. The content is okay, and the benefit is not very good. So this one's only a 9. I'm gonna say it's our first F tier. Next, score a 33 on the ACT. This one I think is too cruel and not very interesting. It's a common punishment for fantasy football. The content is pretty good because you'd have the studying and the result, and potentially we would have to take the ACT multiple times, which would be really embarrassing. The benefit is mediocre. It's a little interesting to see it happen. This one has a 10. I'm gonna say that's a D tier. Next, take the other brothers out to dinner. This one is also very uncruel. It is about baking cookies level of fun, which makes it a not very good punishment. It's also not very unusual, but the content and benefit to other brothers is pretty good, so I'm gonna say it's low C tier. Next, 24 hours inside of a Waffle House. This one I think is a little too cruel, and I don't like that you're putting undue strain on the workers of the Waffle House. But maybe they would think it's funny. Also, this isn't a metric that I have on this table, but I don't think that there's any Waffle Houses in the greater Boston area. This one's also rather normal. It's another punishment for fantasy football leagues. The content is pretty good for a 24-hour long vlog, but the benefit of Other Brothers is not very good. With an 11, it's another C tier. Next, make a family calendar. I think that this one is the perfect amount of cruel, and it's pretty unusual. I've never heard of it as a punishment. The content is good, and the benefit to Other Brothers is good because we can claim it as a group gift for Mother's Day. That's why I think that this one is also S tier. Next, stand up comedy open mic night. Let's fix that typo. Perfect amount of cruel and unusual, and the content is pretty good. And the benefit to Other Brothers is mediocre because we would be entertained. That gives it a 16, which I think is high B tier, better than doing Ethan's taxes in my opinion. Next, stay open to close in Target, which is about 14 hours on average. This one is like the Waffle House one, except it's inspired by an early Vlogbrothers punishment, which I think automatically makes it a little more interesting. The cruelness is also similar to the Waffle House. Content is good, and benefit to Other Brothers is bad, which gives it a 12. I think it's high C tier. Next, execution by drowning. This one is far too cruel in my opinion, but it is pretty unusual. The content would be amazing. Imagine the thumbnail. But the benefit to Other Brothers would be very bad. A 0 in my opinion. I would be very sad to lose a brother to execution by drowning. That gives it an F tier, but above doing 100 push-ups. Next, give each other brother $100. This one's a little bit not cruel enough. It's just not very difficult to give each other $100, even if you'd be sad to lose the money. It's extremely normal, and the content is ass booty cheeks terrible. But the benefit to the Other Brothers is great. This one's rather polarizing. It's another C tier, but I'm gonna use my executive decision to give it a high D tier instead, just because it's so uninteresting. Next, pay for a group trip to Six Flags. Again, this one's a little bit not cruel enough, but it's medium unusual, and the content would be pretty good. This one is another 5 for benefit to Other Brothers. I think it'd be really fun to have a Six Flags day trip. With a 16, this one's also B tier. Next, sing Don't Stop Me Now by Queen at karaoke night. This one's not very cruel. In fact, it would only take about 3 minutes. I specifically picked Don't Stop Me Now because I heard it's a rather difficult and potentially embarrassing karaoke song. This one's pretty unusual, and the content would be good if you were to mess up. Also, if you did well, the content would be good. Just maybe I'm convincing myself it should be slightly better. It's not a 3, it's a 4 on the content. The benefit to Other Brothers is moderate because it would be entertaining. With a 15, I'm gonna give this low B tier. Next, run a 5K in less than 30 minutes. This is another one where you could potentially have to do multiple tries and have a journey, like the ACT. I think that this one's a little cruel, but just the right amount, because you would have to train, but running a 30-minute 5K is very doable for the average person with practice. It's medium unusual and medium quality content, but not very good for the other brothers. I'm gonna say this is the best quality C tier punishment. Next, learn how to surf. This one is a little bit not too cruel because I think you could probably learn how to surf in a day if you went to a class. It's medium unusual and the content is pretty good because surfing is cool, but the benefit to other brothers is low. I'm gonna say this is high tier C, a little bit better than running a 5K. Next, get a tattoo of a rat. This one is definitely too cruel, and I don't think that we would have each other do it, but I thought it was worth considering. It's rather normal as a punishment to have to get a tattoo of things, even though it's not very cool. The content is okay, and the benefit to other brothers is not very good. I'm gonna give it F tier, above drowning by execution. Last, take a picture of 15 different types of birds. I'm only including this one because recently I watched a documentary about competitive bird watching, and it's on my mind. I think that this one is a little cruel, or a little too uncruel, because taking pictures of birds is kind of fun. I also think that it is a good amount of unusual, and I'm realizing I didn't give anything a 5 tier unusual, so I'm gonna give this one a 5 tier unusual. The content is pretty good, and the benefit to other brothers is mediocre because it's interesting, but it doesn't give us anything directly beneficial. With 15, I'm gonna give it B tier, above doing Ethan's taxes. So that's my list. Let me know what you think. In the future, you can use this list as inspiration, or you can use it to decide what punishment you want to give me. If you don't like it, feel free to come up with any other punishment, or use whatever metric you like. I'm not your dad, I'm just your brother. But I think that I'll probably be using this list to decide punishments in the future, if we ever have any. Which I'm not saying I hope that we do, but it could be kind of fun. Anyways, I love you, and I hope that you had a nice, relaxing time watching this video. And if you were using it to get to sleep, I hope that you slept well. Goodbye and good night, brothers. Bye.